night we pray, kneeling low, hear what we say. Freedom calls in every tone. Faith is built on hearts of stone. Vibes so raw, can't hide the truth. Words so sharp, they cut right through. Real talk for the soul's appeal. Prayers rise up, the wounds they heal. Lift our voices to the sky, a righteous perspective high. On this path we won't back down, for the Father wears the crown. Each step brings another fight. Breaking chains, we're seeking light. Voice of power won't be tamed. With His love, we're never shamed. Lift our voices to the sky, a righteous perspective high. On this path we won't back down, for the Father wears the crown. From the ashes we shall rise. Hope is found deep in our eyes. Every word a battle cry. With the Father none deny.
What's going on, ARP family? What's going on with you guys? Hope all is well with you all. Happy Monday to you guys, man. Hope you guys enjoyed the long 4th of July weekend. Hope you guys had a great and safe time. I know it was a lot of craziness, going on, and my apologies. My microphone is kind of acting up a little bit. Put a 1 in the chat if you guys can hear me okay. I want to make sure that we're not having any technical difficulties this morning. And I want to kick things off, man, just by thoughts and prayers, out to our folks out there in Central Texas. We're going to talk about that today. It's just so unfortunate, man. So unfortunate when these, types of situations happen, these natural disasters happen. And people are always looking to point the finger at somebody instead of just saying, hey, man, it was a natural disaster. And these types of things happen. But, it's very, very unfortunate. So thoughts and prayers, out there to all of our people, out there in Central Texas, man. We got a good amount to get into today. We're going to talk about some things that happened over the weekend. We got the floods, and we're also going to talk about some of the things that happened over the weekend and reference some of the violence, that happened on this 4th of July weekend. Unfortunately, it's just very, very unfortunate, man. Very unfortunate, man. But peace and blessings to each and every one of you guys. Shout out to my ARP family members. Thank you guys so much for pulling up this morning. Appreciate you guys, man. I hope you guys had a great weekend. Hope you guys didn't overdo it. Didn't eat too much. Didn't overdo it with the fireworks, so forth and so on. But, I do appreciate you guys pulling up this morning as always. And like I said, man, we got to talk about something heavy hitting, down in Central Texas, where devastating floods that struck Hill County or Hill Country, more or less. And, this happened obviously along the Guadalupe River, and it's left communities reeling. And it's a story that I definitely think it demands our attention, and it's something that we should be discussing this today and this morning. But I want to make sure I show some love to my folks out in the chat. We won't spend too long, there. But, I want to do that, and then we're going to get the show kicked off. If you haven't done so already, hit that like button for me. Please hit that like button for me. Shout out to Redefine Queen. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. Kevin Caldwell, Donald Lovejoy. What's up, Hunter? How's it going this morning? He always starts us off with the good Bible verse there. It says, fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and wisdom of the Holy One is understanding. Proverbs chapter 9, verse 10. Thank you very much, Hunter, man. Appreciate that. Shout out to you, B. Appreciate you pulling up. What's up, Lori Otteson? How's it going this morning? She says, prayers for Texas this morning. Hope everyone had a safe Independence Day. Please remember to hit that like button. Thank you very much. What's up, Soul Driver? How's it going this morning? Appreciate you pulling up this morning. Hope all is well. What up, LHF Guardian Rob? Thank you for pulling up. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. Thank you very much, man. I hope all is well with you guys. Man, we got a good amount to get into. What's up, Michelle? How you doing this morning? What's up, Nelly? How you doing? Hey, Marla, how you doing this morning? Appreciate you pulling up. Hope all is well. What's up, Mr. Steve Ed Mister? How's it going in? What's up, Crystal? How you doing this morning, sister? Hope all is well with you. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. What's up, Zephyr K9? I hope all is well. What up, LJ Taylor? What's up, Ed? Good to see you back from the vacay. Hope you had a great vacation. It was restful. And you enjoyed yourself. Thank you very much. Appreciate you pulling up, man. As always, I wanted to make sure. What's up, Scott Jung? How's it going? We got Bordeaux for now. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. Hope all is well. Gemini Rising. Appreciate you pulling up. Says a new subscriber and freaking love it here, man. Outstanding. Let's show her some love, man. Shout out to you. Thank you, Gemini Rising. Thank you very much for pulling up. Shout out. Angela says she got one more day in Costa Rica. Hey, enjoy yourself down there, sister. Enjoy yourself. What's up, Diane? We got Justin Maddox in the house. Shout out. Appreciate you. Appreciate you pulling up. What's up, C. Bergie and Billy W. and Toy Mafia? How's it going today? Appreciate you all pulling up. What up, Amber Young? We got Peter 6336. Shout out to you, Cool Ramon. What's going on? Appreciate you pulling up this morning. Hope all is well. Hope all is well. What up, Spaces? How's it going this morning? We got Joan Simone, Georgia in the building. Shout out to you. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. Thank you very much. All right, everybody can hear me just fine. What's up, Leslie? How you doing this morning, sister? Hope all is well. What up, Pete W? Appreciate you pulling up this morning. All righty. Let's get things kicked off, man. We're going to get things kicked off. What up, Mike C? What's up, Dion? How you doing this morning? Appreciate you guys pulling up, man. Hit that like button for me if you haven't done so already. Like I say always, man, super chats to stop the show. Super thanks will stop the show as well. What's up, Big Tim? How's it going today? Appreciate you pulling up this morning. What's up, Deborah Carver? Appreciate you all pulling up as well. Like I said, super chats will stop the show. Super thanks will stop the show. Anybody that joins the ARP family or gives an ARP family membership, that will stop the show as well. Hey, man, this is this is not going to be a happy-go-lucky show. I highly doubt that. There's just so much tragedy to discuss today, and I'm sorry to start your day off, in this manner, but we got to talk about it, right? We got to discuss it. So let's get things going, man. Hit that like button for me if you haven't done so already. Let's get it going.
Tonight, with the devastation from catastrophic flash flooding in central Texas growing even more dire. This was the view from above in Kerr County, showing total destruction. Officials saying at least 32 people have been killed after a dangerous surge from the
What's going on, Malachi? Be safe out there on the road, brother.
The Guadalupe River overwhelmed the entire region, uprooting trees and leaving piles of debris everywhere. At the same time, dozens of families are in anguish tonight, desperately searching for at least 27 children who went missing after the water swept through a summer camp. You can see the aftermath in this photo posted today. And the flood threat isn't over yet. Our Ryan Chandler is in hard-hit Kerrville, Texas. Ryan, good evening.
Jose, this is still an active search and rescue operation. We've seen the helicopters flying low above this destroyed riverbank all day, trying to search for survivors. The governor stressing that they are treating all of the missing people as still alive, while the fear for many here is, when does rescue turn into recovery?
In the Texas Hill Country tonight, families hold on to hope as heartbreak overflows. On the broken banks of the Guadalupe River, a trail of death and debris, trees leveled and shredded, families destroyed.
I've never seen tragedy on this level, the destruction that this flood has caused.
The death toll rising with every update. Now 32 people dead, including at least 14 children. And tonight, our first look at Camp Mystic, the Christian all-girls retreat devastated. Inside one cabin, bunks and bedding caked in mud. Officials say 27 campers are still missing tonight. And we've learned the identities of 3 girls who died. One of those killed, little Lila Bonner. Her family tells NBC News, "We ache with all who loved her and are praying endlessly for others to be spared from this tragic loss." Down the river, Patrick O'Malley says his dogs woke him up as water was already to his door.
The water started coming through the flooring, and I just felt the whole house pick up, and been on a lot of boats, and it felt like I was in a boat.
850 people have been rescued so far, officials say.
These are the search and rescue missions frantically searching for anybody who may still be alive. A massive search radius 30 miles downriver.
We will be relentless in going after and ensuring that we locate every single person who's been a victim of this flooding event.
It's like this for miles and miles.
The Guadalupe swelled nearly 30 feet in just about an hour Friday morning. A holiday escape, now a hellscape. RVs abandoned and homes reduced to shells.
People need to know today will be a hard day. It will be a hard day.
Pretty devastating.
A few hours east near Austin, flash flooding killing at least 3 people today. Officials encouraging people to evacuate in Georgetown with the San Gabriel River cresting at more than 30 feet.
Ryan, how much more rain could this area get?
Yeah, Jose, it's not over yet. Governor Abbott has expanded the disaster declaration in Texas with more rain still on the way. Areas like Austin and San Antonio, 6 million people, in fact, under flood watches tonight. Some areas got more than 16 inches of rain in the last 24 hours, Jose.
Ryan Chandler in Kerrville, Texas. Thank you.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking.
Wow. Shout out to Leon Benjamin with the $2 super chat and or super sticker, more or less. And Leon Benjamin with the $5 super chat says, God bless you, Bishop Benjamin with MAGA Black. Thank you. Thank you very much. Goodness gracious. Wow. This is, wow. And I know there's, since that report there's been, a lot more people that have been, deemed, I guess, found and perished. And this is just awful, man. It really is, man. Goodness gracious. Oh, man. All right, y'all seen the title. I know a lot of people maybe were a little frustrated behind the title because, yes, some kind of way the mainstream media decided that this particular situation is Trump's fault once again. How can we just look at a tragedy for what it is and say, hey, man, this is a tragedy? Why do we always got to quick to be, so quick to try to point the finger and blame somebody, for something like this? Something like this. I just don't get it. I don't understand the purpose. I don't understand how it helps anything. But we're gonna get into it. But let's break this down. Let's break this down with the latest on what's happening. I mean, the human toll. What's being done, to respond on Friday, 4th of July. A lot of people were, celebrating, but not so much, down there in Central Texas. Catastrophic flash flooding slammed Central Texas, triggered by just a torrential downpour that dumped 5 to 12 inches of rain, in just hours. The Guadalupe River near Kerrville surged 20 to 26 feet in under 45 minutes. That is crazy fast. 20 to 26 feet in 45 minutes is that's crazy. I mean, we're talking about a rise so rapid that it caught the entire town off guard. Kerr County, about 75 miles west of Austin, they were hit the hardest, with the river reaching its second highest level on record, surpassing even the deadly 1987 flood that killed 10 teenagers. This wasn't just water, it was a wall of destruction, washing away homes, cabins, RVs, and lives. The death toll is heartbreaking, man. The death toll, it's heartbreaking. Officials are reporting that more than 80 people have lost their lives across 6 counties, with Kerr County alone confirming 59 deaths. You guys got a chance to see the clip there. There was a multitude of kids that were at a summer camp that fell a victim to this flood, or to these floods. I mean, this is awful, man. That tragedy, the tragedy at Camp Mystic, a nearly century-old Christian summer camp for girls along the Guadalupe. I mean, it's gripped the nation. At least 27 people connected to the camp died, and 11 girls plus 1 counselor remain missing. That's 750 girls who were at the camp when the flood hit, and far too many families. For entirely too many families. I mean, this is a nightmare of waiting and praying for miracles. I mean, this is a tragedy that I don't think anybody expected. And honestly, man, if we can put this into some type of perspective, you know, we got to take a look at this. I mean, this is absolutely heartbreaking. Absolutely heartbreaking, man. And the fact that people are trying to blame somebody, I don't understand. What's the point of trying to blame anyone? I just don't get it, man. I just don't get it.
She was so nice, and I just miss her so much. I've been scrolling through videos and pictures on my mom's phone.
Really good friends lost a daughter that was at Camp Mystic. They've just had so much loss that, I mean, it's unimaginable. And then, you know, they're still pulling people out of the river, and we don't even know to the extent of who we know that has lost their lives.
My friend Nene was just so funny. I've been scrolling through videos and pictures on my mom's phone and watching it over and over again. Her dancing when she's excited.
Yeah.
She was so nice, and I just miss her so much.
Wow. Yeah, 27 feet high water is like 3 stories. Yes. Cool, Ramon. That's a lot of water, man. That's a lot of water in 45 minutes. I feel sorry for this family, this little girl. I mean, honestly, man, you can barely find the words. Goodness gracious, man. Search and rescue efforts are relentless. Y'all know how we do. You know, when tragedy strikes, thankfully, you have men and women out there that are coming together to get out there, and they're risking their lives, you know, in this search and rescue effort, right? You know, and it's unfortunate. This is unfortunate because, you know, it really shows. It shows how quick, you know, our search and rescue folks are willing to go out there and put their lives on the line, you know, to help. You know, but this is such an unfortunate tragedy, man. Over 1,000 state and federal personnel, including the Texas National Guard and U.S. Coast Guard. They're all combing the riverbanks with helicopters, boats, drones, K9 units, you name it. They're out there. You know, more than 850 people have been rescued. Praise God. Over 850 people have been rescued, man. Thank the Lord. Many folks were plucked from trees, rooftops. You had a lot of these folks, man, that, you know, the trees and the rooftops, man, they were clinging for survival. Stories like Christian Fells. I mean, it's chilling. You just can't even imagine this type of disaster. I mean, when you start talking about 20 to 26 feet of water rising in less than, in less than 45 minutes is just unbelievable. Unbelievable. Look at this, man. Look at this. You know, there's a guy, I saw this story here. He said that he woke up to water over his ankles in his grandmother's home. swam through a window, and survived by holding on to a meter box for hours. Others like Scott Walden and his wife, they escaped their flooded home by swimming downstream and grabbing a branch to call for help. These are tales of resilience, but they underscore the sheer terror of this disaster. Governor Greg Abbott, he expanded the state's disaster declaration to cover Kerr County and beyond, including Bexar, Burnett, Caldwell, Guadalupe, Travis, and Williamson counties. President Trump also signed a major disaster declaration unlocking federal resources for first responders and recovery efforts. The National Weather Service issued flood watches and warnings as early as Thursday, but the intensity of the rainfall, described as a 1 in a 100-year event, overwhelmed even the most prepared. Some question whether enough was done to evacuate camps like Mystic, given the area's history of flash flooding. And now you guys got to see this for yourself. This video, of the Guadalupe was shot in Kerrville, Texas, from the center bridge. Watch how fast these floods waters are traveling and washing everything in front and out of it. I mean, it goes from low and barely flowing to over the top, of a bridge in around 35 minutes. It's a long video, so we're not going to show it all. But I want you guys to see this. I mean, this is just wild. Look at this. And this right here, is the first part. Let me turn it down just a little bit. This is the first part of a, 13-minute long video here. And I want you guys, and I'm going to let this play for a little bit, but I want you guys to see, just about 25 minutes in, what this looks like. As you can see, it is going to fast forward, and I'm going to skip a little bit into it as well. But Lucas Boy, you're absolutely right. He said a flash flood is harder to predict than a tornado. Absolutely. Absolutely. Look at this, man. All right, so this right here, where you see it right here, and you can see the bridge. This is the bridge right there, and this is how fast the water rolls in about 25 minutes. Look at this, man. Now we're going to take a look at it's about 36 minutes into it. And just get a sense of the sheer power of this situation here, man. Look at this right here. I mean, this is unbelievable, man. I couldn't even imagine. Couldn't even imagine. Do you see this? It is moving a house right now.
There's a cat.
Wow. Wow. Unreal. That is a house moving down the river. And the people still driving on this bridge, holy smokes. I don't have it in me. I don't know why, and I don't know how. Look at this, man. Woo. I mean, this video, it just captures the raw, unstoppable force of the flood. I mean, water is serious. Flowing water, it's nothing to play with, man. It's just unstoppable force of a flood. I mean, it was moving a house. I mean, you guys see the river go from manageable flow to a raging torrent in just over in half an hour or so. Trees, debris, entire structures were swept away like it was nothing. I mean, it's a stark reminder of nature's power, but also the human cost. I mean, this flood didn't just rise, it roared through, leaving a path of destruction that's hard to fathom. Over 1,000 structures were damaged or destroyed, and the economic toll is estimated to be in the billions. Across the region, roads were washed out, bridges collapsed, and entire communities just isolated and decimated. This wasn't just a natural disaster. I mean, this was a full-fledged human catastrophe amplified by the speed and ferocity of the floodwaters. But here's the thing. In the face of such destruction, the response has been nothing short of heroic. It's been all hands on deck. Over 1,000 rescuers, including the Texas National Guard, U.S. Coast Guard, and local volunteers. They've been working nonstop. They've used helicopters, boats, drones, K-9 units, to search for survivors and to recover, the missing. Private organizations, they've also rallied. The Dallas Cowboys, Houston Texans, the NFL Foundation donated $1.5 million. And the World Central Kitchen, they're feeding people, all throughout Kerrsville and in the local area. I mean, this is America. When tragedy strikes, we come together, or at least we should come together, regardless of politics, regardless of, what side of the aisle you stand on. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Regardless of the politics, regardless of the background, regardless of what side of the aisle you stand on. When tragedy strikes, we do tend to come together. But of course, the media, they're not so happy with the response. They're not. I want you guys to see it for yourself. They're not so happy with the response, but hey, it is what it is, right? To be expected, in my opinion.
About the federal government and even the local government, 2 Texas National Weather Service offices involved in forecasting and warning about flooding on the Guadalupe River are missing some key staff members. A director of the NWS union told CNN that the Austin San Antonio office is missing a warning coordination meteorologist due to the Trump administration's buyouts. Do you have any indication whether those or other cuts helped play a role in the fact that the people in the flood zone were not prepared and certainly not evacuated?
I can't say that conclusively, but I do think that it should be. And I don't think it's helpful to have missing key personnel from the National Weather Service not in place to help prevent these tragedies. And, when I say that we ought to do everything possible to help prevent a tragedy like again, that's part of what I mean. That's why there's an incredible value to the National Weather Service, is because, on most days, obviously, you're not going to have a tragedy like this. But when you have flash flooding, there's a risk that you won't have the personnel to do that analysis, do the predictions in the best way, and it could lead to tragedy. So I don't want to sit here and say conclusively that that was the case, but
2 Texas National Weather Service offices involved in forecasting and warning about flooding on the Guadalupe River are missing some key staff members. A director of the NWS union told CNN that the Austin San Antonio office is missing a warning coordination meteorologist due to the Trump administration's buyouts. Do you have any indication whether those or other cuts helped play a role in the fact that the people in the flood zone were not prepared and certainly not evacuated?
Yeah. That just goes to show you how crappy CNN is. And a lot of these leftist media pundits out there. You literally have people losing their lives and they find a way to try to blame Trump for this. Now, I had mentioned it earlier that the meteorologists down there in Texas, they did put out a flash flood warning. It came out Thursday, but someone mentioned this. They could not have predicted how crazy. No one could have predicted how crazy of a flood this would have been. This is a 1 in 100 years type of flood. Like, come on, man. Come on, this is ridiculous. Shout out to Matt Green with the $5 super chat. Says, thank you, Wise, for coverage on this horrific tragedy. You're truly a man of God and a good man that loves his country. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that, man. Thank you. Thank you. I mean, this is ridiculous, man. This is ridiculous. A flood, a tragedy that's, 1 in 100 years. They immediately go and say, oh, Trump, some buyouts, and that's the reason why. Like, come on, man, stop it. Really? This is where you go? In this coverage, this is where you go. Trying to figure out a way, an angle to point the finger and blame somebody. I mean, come on, man. This is so ridiculous. It really is. It's so ridiculous. I mean, come on, man. I mean, these people, they should be ashamed of themselves, but they have no shame. Talk about, never letting a tragedy go to waste, right? CNN, they're at it again, trying to blame the floods on Trump and the Doge cuts. They're saying critical vacancies at the National Weather Service offices, could have affected warning dissemination. But let's break it down because the facts tell a different story. The National Weather Service issued flood watches and warnings as early as Thursday, July 3rd. We've got a timeline here. A flood watch was issued at 1:18 p.m. on Thursday. A flash flood warning at 11:41 p.m. that night, and by 4:03 a.m. Friday, it was upgraded to a flash flood emergency. That's not a lack of warning. That's a system that's working. The rainfall was described as a 1 in 100 year event, something no amount of staffing could have fully predicted or prevented. Let's just keep it real. But CNN's narrative, I mean, it's always all about blaming President Trump and the administration. They're blaming the administration's buyouts. They're saying that led to key, the buyouts led to key missing staff. And I mean, honestly, man, it's a stretch and it's wrong. It's a stretch and it's wrong. And here's the reality. The response was robust. The warnings, they were timely. And the heroics, of our first responders, they saved lives. Over 850 people were rescued, many from impossible situations. This could have been a whole heck of a lot worse. My thoughts, my prayers, my condolences, to those that did lose lives, but they did save 850 people. This isn't about politics, though. This should not be a political situation. This isn't something to hang your hat on from a political standpoint. It's just not. This is not about politics. It's about people coming together. The media, though, they can't help themselves. They cannot help themselves. Mainstream media cannot help themselves. They see a tragedy, and they see an opportunity to push their agenda. That's it. Tragedy, and this is an opportunity for them to pounce, to push their agenda. Simple as that, man. And let's be clear. The floods were a natural disaster amplified by the geography and intensity of the rain, not by some supposed lack of preparedness due to Trump-era cuts. The National Weather Service, it did its job. And the response from state and federal levels, I mean, it was swift. Governor Abbott explained the disaster declaration. President Trump signed a major disaster declaration and resources poured in. This is America at its best, not its worst, at its best, not its worst. Unlike what happened last year, during the hurricanes, when they couldn't get generators and they couldn't go out there and help people, or they chose not to help people because they, quote unquote, feared for their lives because they saw people with Trump signs in their yard. This is America at its best. What we saw, during the hurricanes that happened out in Nashville, North Carolina, that's what we saw America at its worst during that time frame. And the media, they're wrong once again. And it's a reminder that we've got to focus on the facts, not the fiction. We got to focus on the facts, not the fiction. Their response to North Carolina last year was abysmal. It was abysmal. And the fact that you had someone go on there and say, hey, man, there were streets that we saw a couple MAGA signs, and we saw a couple Trump van signs, and we decided just not to go help those people. This is what the administration said. They said that out of their mouths. Right? Oh, let's not talk about the Maui fires. Absolutely, yuck. Let's not talk about the Maui fires. Let's not go there. I mean, these people are ridiculous, man. And honestly, this shouldn't even be a political conversation. This has nothing to do with politics. Absolutely nothing to do with politics. This has absolutely nothing to do with politics. But leave it to CNN. I would assume MSDNC is doing something similar. Leave it to them. It's sad, man. It really is. It's sad. These people are awful, man. They're awful, to say the least. Oh, man. I want to shift gears. And again, my thoughts, my prayers. Let's make sure that we keep these people, out there in Central Texas, lifted up in prayer. Let's make sure we keep the National Guard, everybody that's out there that's a part of the search and rescue efforts. Let's make sure we keep them lifted up, in prayer as well. It's a tough job. Somebody has to do it. We need people out there willing to do it. We need people out there willing to put their lives on the line. Somebody has to do it. But man. Yeah, we gotta keep them lifted. We gotta keep these people, lifted up in prayer, though. We have to. But I want to shift gears. To my next topic or story of the day. And it's another critical issue that's plaguing our nation. I want to shift gears to another critical issue that's plaguing our nation. Over the 4th of July weekend, multiple mass shootings occurred across the United States, adding to a disturbing trend. Multiple mass shootings, not just one, multiples. But for whatever reason, the left, they don't want to have these conversations, though. They don't want to talk about that, though.
Unfortunately, more violence in the city. So far, at least 40 people have been shot and 6 killed across Chicago this 4th of July weekend. Some neighborhood residents walked the track at Avalon Park, unaware just hours earlier gun violence claimed the life of a teenage girl while wounding a man there.
I'm always shocked at the things that's happening in this area, but again, I'm getting used to it at the same time. But it is heartbreaking.
Just before 11 p.m. Friday night, investigators say gunfire erupted in the park located in the 1200 block of East 83rd Street on the city's south side. Police say 16-year-old Mia Smith died of a bullet wound to the throat, while a 35-year-old man was hit in the leg after an attacker approached them on foot and opened fire. In the hours to follow, there would be 2 new mass shootings. The first within the city's back of the yards neighborhood, leaving 7 people wounded. It happened near 48th and Justine just after 11 o'clock. That's when witnesses say 2 gunmen walked up to a crowd and started shooting. The 4 women injured range in age from 21 to 27 years old and were seriously or critically hurt, along with a 21-year-old and a 29-year-old man. A 42-year-old man also remains hospitalized. Another attack on the group happened near the Cook County Criminal Courts building. Investigators say 4 men were sitting in a car near 27th in California when another vehicle pulled up and someone inside started shooting. The men, who range in age from 25 to 33 years old, each suffered multiple gunshot wounds. Street pastor and anti-violence activist Dr. Donovan Price says he's concerned about what feels like an uptick in gun violence.
Sometimes it's about plain evil, and as long as people have guns, they're going to use them whenever they get angry. It's a tool of convenience. Of angry convenience.
ABC 7 is tracking holiday weekend shootings from the morning of Thursday, July 3rd at midnight to the evening of Sunday, July 6th at 11:59 p.m. At least 44 people have been shot, resulting in 6 homicides, a concern to some Chicagoans fearful about their safety.
I have 2 sons, and I'm very concerned about them. I have 2 brothers, one that was murdered and one that was shot, so it's affected me personally.
Police continue to investigate, but so far, no one is in custody and no arrests have been made. Unfortunately,
blame the guns, right? Let's dive into this, man. Let's dive into this. Give me a second here. I want to set a goal, because if you guys would like to, if y'all are interested, I want to do it. Let me set a goal here. Actually, we'll do it here in the next 30 minutes. All right, so we're going to open it up. We're going to set a goal. We hit the goal. We'll open it up for some call-ins today. But I wanted to talk about this because last week we talked about the situation between Carmelo Anthony and Austin Metcalf. Y'all know Carmelo Anthony took the life of Austin Metcalf. We don't have to say allegedly because the young man did admit it. He admitted to doing it, right? He did admit to doing it. We know this, right? We all can agree with that. But this particular situation here, we're going to get into it. But I put any amount of money on it. You will not hear from Dominique Alexander. You will not hear from Al Sharpton, Ben Crump, Black Lives Matter. You will not hear from any of your race hustlers out there, you know, about this particular situation and these events that happened over the weekend. You will not. You will not. Now, over the weekend in Chicago, over 50 people were shot. You had 6 people that were unalive this past 4th of July weekend. This is insane. 50 people shot, 6 people killed this 4th of July weekend. You'll hear absolutely nothing from your race hustlers. Absolutely nothing from the race hustlers. Let's talk about Saturday morning. Saturday morning in Cabrini Green, in this Cabrini Green neighborhood, a 46-year-old man was inside a vehicle in North Cambridge Avenue when someone fired shots, hitting him in the back. He was pronounced dead on the scene. The shooter fled in a dark-colored vehicle. One person of interest is in custody right now, but the details still a little murky. Just hours earlier on the west side in Austin, a 30-year-old man was found shot to death, unresponsive, with a gunshot wound to the head. No one's in custody yet on that, and the investigation is still ongoing. Then early Saturday morning, near Cook County Courthouse in Little Village, 4 people were injured, 3 critically in a mass shooting. They were sitting in a parked vehicle when a dark SUV drove by and opened fire. 3 men, ages 32, 26, and 25, were shot in the body, and they're all in critical condition, while a 33-year-old man was shot in the leg and is in fair condition. No arrest yet on that particular situation. No motive is still unclear, but it doesn't stop there. Late Friday night in West Inglewood, a 36-year-old man identified as Marco Wade Velasquez Sierra was found shot to death on South Winchester Avenue. Just minutes earlier, in the back, of the yards in the backyards neighborhood, 7 people were seriously injured when 2 men walked up and started shooting into a crowd. A 27-year-old woman, a 21-year-old woman, another 21-year-old man, 29-year-old man, and a 25-year-old woman. Another 25-year-old woman, a 42-year-old man, all hospitalized in serious critical condition. No one's in custody for that particular situation, and the investigation is still ongoing. Then you got out in Avalon Park, 16-year-old girl, Mia Smith. She was shot in the throat, and she died, while a 35-year-old man was injured. Early Thursday morning in South Shore, 2 women were inside a home when a man demanded their property and a struggle ensued. The 29-year-old woman was shot in the neck and the chest. She passed, while a 37-year-old woman was shot in the arm. She's in fairly good condition now. On the far south side, 4 people were wounded early Thursday morning, including 2 in critical condition. Hours later in Inglewood, 3 men, they were shot, 1 critical. And just minutes after that, a 21-year-old man shot and killed in a drive-by, on Jeffrey Manor. This is crazy. This all happened over the weekend. This happened all of this happened over the weekend. That's a lot to take in. We're talking 50 people shot. You got 6 dead across multiple neighborhoods, multiple incidents, and it's not a single clear motive. I mean, this is just flat out chaos, and it's a pattern that we've seen before, and this isn't just about Chicago. We talk about Chicago all the time on the channel, and we talk about Chicago in general. Chicago tends to always make the news when it comes to these types of violence, but this isn't just Chicago.
Neighborhood block party celebrating July 4th ends with a man dead, and now detectives in Queens are searching for the person who stabbed 3 people, killing one of them. Derek Waller has the latest from Jamaica.
Fireworks and police lights lit up the sky over South Queens Friday night.
The NYPD now investigating how one Independence Day gathering ended with a deadly stabbing.
You know, it's one of those holidays where people like to have fun. You know, some like to have more fun than the others.
Police say 3 men in their 20s were attacked just before 2 a.m. here in this neighborhood on 112th Avenue near Sutphin Boulevard. One of them slashed across his abs, another stabbed in his ribs. They're both listed in stable condition, but a 25-year-old man stabbed in the chest, now identified as Jonathan McFarland of Jamaica, died at the hospital. And here on 112th Avenue the day after, there are just remnants of exploded fireworks all over the street. And then come back here closer to where the deadly stabbing actually took place near Sutphin Boulevard, and there are boxes of empty fireworks on the street, and police actually stationed on this block all day. Detectives with the Queens South Homicide Squad questioned drivers and went door to door Saturday looking for surveillance video, while Mohammed Reza cleaned up. You were saying it's scary.
It's scary, yeah. It's scary. It's midnight. I don't know what's going on there, but until 11:30 I was here. It was okay.
Reza and his daughter Zaina were asleep long before the celebration exploded into violence.
It was pretty busy. There was a bunch of parties and everything.
And your first instinct is to go inside.
Yeah, because they were all drunk and smoking, and we don't participate in that.
So far, no arrests as investigators continue to look for clues. In Jamaica,
All right, so you got Queens, New York. We talked about Chicago, but Queens, New York, similar situation. Where the 4th of July celebrations also ended in tragedy. Just before 2 a.m. on Saturday, a man was stabbed to death. Another 25-year-old, stabbed in the ribs. Another 24-year-old slashed in the abdomen near 112th Avenue and Sutphin Boulevard. I mean, it was supposed to be a night of fireworks and fun, but it turned into a nightmare for a lot of people. A large group gathered for the holiday and a fight broke out. But the details still a little fuzzy, still a little murky. No suspect description yet. And the investigation's ongoing. And it's not just these incidents. The 4th of July weekend was marred by mass shootings across the country. A grim reminder of the violence that we're facing. In Philadelphia, a shooting left at least 4 dead and several injured after a block party turned deadly. In Chicago, as we covered, 50 people shot, 6 people killed. Down in Texas, in Houston, a shooting at a nightclub left 2 dead and multiple wounded. Up in Massachusetts, in Brockton, 6 people were hospitalized following an early morning fight that escalated. And let's not forget New York City, where a triple stabbing in Queens at the end of the celebration left 1 dead and 2 injured. It's a pattern, isn't it? I mean, violence doesn't take a holiday. And it's not just about guns or knives. It's about a society that's lost its way. It's about a society that has lost its way. So what's the big picture here? The bigger picture is this. This isn't just about bad actors. It's about a failure of leadership, a failure to secure our communities. We've got leaders who talk a big game but don't deliver. Y'all remember up in New York, the dude that just won the Democratic primary, he wants to defund the police even more. He wants to defund the police even more, and I mean, these people aren't interested in, they're more interested in politics than they are protecting our families. I mean, we're not holding criminals accountable, and we're not addressing the root cause, a culture that glorifies violence, a media that sensationalizes it, and a system that's soft on crime. Look at Chicago, despite all the promises, the violence persists. Because they're not serious about stopping it. We need leaders who will stand up, who will enforce the law, who will put our safety first. It's not, about more government programs. It's about restoring order, about making sure that our streets are safe for kids to play, for our families to thrive. I mean, we got to get back to the basics, man. Faith, family, and freedom, and a whole heck of a lot of faith and a whole lot of family. We need that. We've lost our way in this nation. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that we've moved away entirely too far away from the faith. And we don't seem to value family nowhere near as we used to. And we definitely don't value the freedoms, that comes with that. Honestly, man, it is time that we demand accountability to support leaders who will put America first, and to reject the narrative that violence is inevitable. I mean, this is our country, man, and we deserve better. We deserve better. But again, it goes back to faith, and family. And unfortunately, we have a lot of communities out there that lack families, lack nuclear families. We have people that are upset that, you know, they want to implement the 10 Commandments in schools, but they're okay with pride flags being flown around and kids being pushed, you know, propaganda or alphabet community propaganda. They're okay with that. But when you say, hey, we want to put the 10 Commandments in, you know, thou shalt not kill, steal, you know, those types of things. Oh, we can't do that. We can't do that. There's a separation between church and state. That's what these people say. Which one is it, man? Shout out to Malachi with the $5 super chat. Says, that's crazy that we're in a time where people believe getting rid of law enforcement and firearms, it's going to lead us to a better place. Yeah, unfortunately, you got people that believe that. They believe that disarming law-abiding citizens is going to make things better. They're not. It's actually going to make things worse, because what we do know is criminals are going to do criminal things. That we know for sure. That we know for sure. I mean, it's so crazy, man. It's so crazy. And Yuck, he says the root cause is broken homes. Take care of yourself and your family and the things that you can't control. Yeah, I'm a firm believer in controlling what you can control. And those are some of the things that we can control. You know, those are some of the things that we can't control. On the flip side of that, you know, when people say, man, we got to get back into the faith, man, we got to get back into, you know, God's order. We got to, but we also need to get these churches in that same realm. We got, I would say 80, 85, maybe 90% of the churches are operating outside of God's plan. You know, they're more about the bag, the pastors and things of that nature. They're more about the money than anything else. They're not really out there to save souls or help the community. You know, but then they'll turn around and tell you to bring all your tithes and offerings into the storehouse, and then they don't actually distribute, you know, the tithes and offerings throughout the community, throughout the folks that need the help. Right? Lori Addison says America needs Jesus. Yeah, yes, we need a lot of them. We've moved so far away, but then again, the word tells us this, right? You know, the word says only a remnant will make it through. So, I mean, I think a lot of us, man, we're hoping and we're praying that the masses will make it. But the reality of it is, hey, the masses aren't going to make it. And the other thing, too, is that, you know, when everybody says everybody deserves this and deserves that, hey, everybody's not supposed to win. You get what you work for. You get what you earn. And everybody's not going to win. Everybody's not going to win. Playboy Billy says people need God. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Absolutely right, man. Oh, man. Magga Tamara says women should start carrying, I'm guessing that's carrying mace that has a dye that stains the skin. Yeah. Dion says a vast majority of churches are also operating out of wokeness. Absolutely. That's what I was saying. I was like, man, yeah, 85, 90% of the churches, they're not who they're supposed to be. RA, that girl Chicago says mega churches in Chicago are shameful. Yeah, they're all bought and paid for. You know what I'm saying? They're all bought and paid for, you know, hustling and basically their job is to make sure that they can keep folks on the Democrat plantation. That's their job. It's a daggone shame, man. It really is. It's a daggone shame. A.D. Turner says the current state of the body of Christ is why so much evil has taken root in the world. Yeah, it's in shambles right now, man. But then again, you know, I have to go back to the word, and the word tells us that this would be the case, right? You know, it's already written. I mean, we're living through it, but it's written. You know, and it tells us that, hey, only a remnant. And there's going to be a whole lot of people out there that said they did a whole lot of things, you know, in the Lord's name. And he's going to tell them, depart from me, I never knew you, right? There's going to be a whole lot of people that do a lot of things, you know, in the Lord's name. And he is going to tell them, depart from me, I never knew you. Yeah. And it's crazy, man. Shout out to LJ Taylor. Says it's hard to accept, but true. Most will not be saved. Yeah, it is hard to accept, and because I mean, you got to think we've probably lived a life thinking that we got to save everybody, that we can save everybody, and the word tells you opposite. The word tells you that everybody will not be saved. I mean, if we just go back and we look at the time of Noah, look at that when the ark was built, when he was, commissioned, by God to build that ark. When it was all said and done, 99.9% of the world perished, right? 99.9% of the world perished. Shout out to Justin Maddox. He says, think it's bad now. Wait for Mondani to take office. Yeah, it would only get worse. Could you imagine people pulling up with clipboards? Kelly Williams says the problem, too many churches are following false idolatry. So no, yeah, that's a huge problem. And that's not just, some folks want to say the black church, the white church. I think there's a lot of churches out there. Black churches, white churches. Yeah, you have more people that have bent the knee to the progressive agenda than actually following the doctrine within the Word of God. And there's a lot of people out there that have put the progressive ideology over the Word of God. But if you guys actually go and just really do some research, you'll get an understanding that, hey, the people that are a part of, that believe in or that would say that they're trained Marxists, that was their goal. Their goal was to infiltrate the churches, infiltrate the schools, and push their agenda from the inside out. And you look at it, I mean, this has probably been 40, 50 years in the making of what we're seeing right now, 40, 50 years in the making. These people play the long game, man. Rod, that girl Chicago says, I live between two mega churches and there is absolutely no community outreach out here. Yeah, that don't surprise me at all. That doesn't surprise me at all because it's about the bag. It's not about the people. It's about the money. It's about the bag. It's about the money, man. Absolutely, Playboy Billy. Most churches all about the money. Yeah, absolutely. It's about the bag. They don't care about the people. Do not care about the people. Yep. Paulus Armstrong says it's been predicted a long time ago. Yeah, long ago. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we can't sit here and say that, the word of the Bible is the true living word of God and did not believe it, right? We can't sit here and say that, hey, it's the true and living word of God and did not believe it. James Lennon said the churches and missionaries started schools in the U.S., but the government took over. Yeah, same thing with sports. I mean, you guys remember the YMCA? They're still around, but they're nothing like what they were actually started from. The YMCA stands for Young Missions Christian Association. And yeah, they started a lot of the sports leagues and things of that nature. And look at where the sports have gone in this day and age. Hunter says, as things get worse and worse, we get closer and closer to Jesus returning. Yeah, but this life is such a vapor. You know what I'm saying? So who knows? Someone said this, I think it might have been AT the other day. He had mentioned something along those lines. It could be 5 years. It could be 500 years. We don't know when he's coming back. We just need to make sure that we're prepared. Right? Yeah. Yeah. That number sounds crazy, don't it, Paulus? 99.9%. That number sounds crazy. When you say it out loud, when you hear it, but it's so true, man. Steve Edminster says, Wise, did you catch our president telling a crowd that, we as a country to back to Jesus or go back to Jesus? I did not get a chance to see his speech. I did hear I did hear some things. There was a couple of people that were upset about the fact that he said that he hates the Democrats. But I would almost say, couldn't you say, not only do you hate the Democrats, but couldn't you put that in the same sentence as, hey, I hate the devil, when you think about their the policies that they push, their policies that they push, it's very demonic. And so I mean, honestly, I don't know. I mean, I guess if you are Democrat, I guess maybe it did hurt your feelings a little bit. But I had people that were independents that was talking about, how that might have hurt their feelings, that he said that he hate the Democrats. But I mean, I can't come out here and say that I hate anybody, but I definitely do not like their agenda. I do not care for the gender affirming care that they're pushing. I do not care for the pregnancy terminations that they're pushing, especially with no restrictions up to the 9th month and after. Their alphabet community policies that they're pushing. I mean, these people, a lot of what they want to push, I mean, it's wicked. It's a wicked agenda more times than not. And I'm not sitting here saying that the Republicans are any better, because I think a lot of them, obviously we have our rhinos and we have those people, and I'm a firm believer that we judge a tree by the fruit. We judge a tree by the fruit that it bears. So we got some Republicans out there that they've been compromised as well. We know that the Republican Party, has been compromised as well to an extent. And, there are some people out there that are doing their due diligence to root out those folks. A lot of y'all may call them rhinos or something along those lines, but they need to be called out and rooted out as well. And wrong is wrong. It doesn't matter, which side of the aisle you're on, right? Wrong is wrong. We want to call out the good, and we also want to call out the wrong. James Lennon says, church denominations has become big business for those that will pay all they can, thinking that money in the plate equals salvation. Yeah, but think about how many pastors out there are preaching that. Think about that. Pay us, and we'll save you. You can't buy your way to heaven, right? I mean, we got a chance to see that in the parable, of the rich man, right? You can't buy your way in. Maverick One says, depart from me, I never knew you. Most terrifying words you'll ever hear. Absolutely. Absolutely. What's up, Spot City? You're absolutely right. There's a lot of people out there, that will get up there and they will say those things. They will say that phrase. Oh, yeah. KC said, I couldn't stay at my last church because they were accepting the LBGT lifestyle. Oh, yeah, it's a lot of that, man. A lot of that. That's why I say, it's everybody wants to kind of, they want to segregate the churches, the black church, the white church. Honestly, man, it's just the church. Seriously. When you get into the word doesn't speak on the church based off of the race of a people or the nationality of a people. It is just the church. But that's just another way for the devil to get in there and, and to divide us, right? To keep us divided. That's just another way, for them to do so. But Dwan Davis says, it's churches in Nashville with the pride flag hanging out the front. Yeah, you'll see it out here too. You'll see it out here. I mean, hey, we got a chance to see during the inauguration. What's her name? Bishop Buddy. We should probably stop calling her Bishop Buddy, because a bishop can only be a man, right? As per the word. But you heard what she trans kids and all this other kind of stuff that she was talking. Yeah. Seabergy, Revelation 12:17 says, the remnant keeps the commandments and has the testimony of Jesus. Yeah. 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 Hey, 818 Clips, I see you in the chat, man. I'll answer your question. How do I feel about Trump's sins? It's not for me to care, about his sins. Honestly, I don't care. For me, it's a policy over anything else. Trump sins, that's between him and God. That got nothing to do with me. You know what I'm saying? Has absolutely nothing to do with me. And honestly, it doesn't have anything to do with any of us. I'm one of those kind of people. I'm a realist. I want to look at the policies. When we got to November, and I was having this conversation, via text with my uncle yesterday. I don't know if he's watching or listening, but we were having this conversation, and he's still suffering from a wicked case of TDS. And God bless him, because he's still suffering from a wicked case of TDS. But what we do know is that the previous administration, we do know that the policies of the Democrats and what they want to push. Think about what has been overturned over these 6 months, right? We got men out of women's sports. We got that. Do you all honestly believe that had Kamala Harris won, that would be the case? UPenn goes out there and apologizes and basically says, hey, all of the records and things of that nature that this dude basically took, we're going to give it back. We're going to take him off, and we're going to put the women that were in place, we're going to put those women back there, right? We got our border closed. These people had a full-fledged open border. We're talking 11 to 30 million people that they allowed to come across our southern border and gave them free benefits. Do y'all honestly believe that Kamala Harris, the border czar, during the previous 4 years was going to get in office and close the border? Do y'all honestly believe that? I don't. The first stop that she made was to RuPaul's drag show, furthering pushing the alphabet community. She was for gender-affirming care for prisoners. She's also for gender-affirming care for, gender-affirming care, quote unquote, for children. Do y'all honestly believe that if Kamala Harris would have won, that in that case would have made it to the Supreme Court? It may have, may not. Where they were trying to basically codify it into law that a child, you know what I'm saying, as young as a year and a half can choose to have a surgery that would be so detriment to themselves, to their bodies, and it can't be reversed. I mean, we got to look at this from a policy standpoint. I don't look at this as man, because man is flawed. Man's inherently evil. Man is inherently flawed. So we can't look at this as the man. You know, we look at this as, I look at it, I'm just talking about me. I'm looking at this from a policy perspective. And I talked about this all last year. Whose policies make more sense for our nation? That's what this is about. Whose policies make more sense for the betterment of our nation? And I mean, it is a no-brainer. It was a no-brainer in November. It's a no-brainer right now. And when we see what the Democrats want to push, or we see that the Democrats, in some cases, they have zero plan. They have no plan other than, hey, vote for me because we're not Trump. That isn't policy. You know what I'm saying? That isn't policy that's going to help or going to move things in a better direction. You know, people got upset about the tariffs. I'm more along the lines of, hey, let's wait and see. But now, a couple of months in, we're getting a chance to see what's happening. And we're starting to see companies reshore, not offshore, but reshore. And they're committing to bringing jobs back to our country. You know, we got the deportations happening. More money committed to deportations to get these people up out of here. That was going to open up opportunities for Americans. Yeah, I mean, it's a no-brainer. So I think so many people get caught up in the sins of a candidate. And to be honest with you, none of us are perfect, right? None of us are perfect. None of us are perfect. And there isn't a candidate out there that you could say is perfect. There isn't one. And after these, you know, going into next year, going into the midterms, and then going into 28, whoever that person is that's going to run for president at that time frame, hey, they will be a flawed individual as well. But we're looking at the policies. Do the policies serve us better or worse? That's what matters. So I don't care about the sins of a candidate. I only care about the policies of said candidate. And do I think that the policies that the candidate wants to push, does it make sense or does it hurt us? That's all that matters. That is all that matters. And that is a lot of the problems, you know, with your Democrat politicians, is that they chose, instead of standing on their policies and pushing their agenda and saying that, hey, our policy, our agenda is better than theirs, they said, no, Trump's bad, support us. Trump bad, support us. And they tried to hide what their actual agenda is. And then when their agenda gets exposed, they can't speak to it, or they choose not to speak to it. So again, it's not about the person, because again, there is not a person in office right now that is sinless. There's been one person that's ever walked this planet that was free of sin. One. That's it. There's only been one. So we shouldn't be looking to politicians, celebrities, influencers. We shouldn't be looking to any of them as our savior. You know what I'm saying? As someone that is sinless, because they're not. They're all flawed individuals. Shout out to Mike C with the $5 super chat. Says, Wise, you've said everything I'm thinking. Keep speaking facts. Thank you, brother. Appreciate that. I think there are so many people, you know, that they're so caught up in their Trump derangement syndrome that they hate Trump so much that they would rather destroy our nation because of their hate of President Trump. And I'm not saying that you got to like him. And I'm not saying that you got to agree with everything, you know, that he says or the way he handles himself. I don't think you have to do that. But if we can just look at the policies and we can compare policies, I mean, it is a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. No-brainer, in my opinion. In my opinion. Now, if you vote for your candidate, you know what I'm saying, because you think you like that person and you think that person's a morally good person, God bless you. That's your business. But I'm a firm believer that we judge the tree by the fruit that it bears. Now, when you start talking about, you know, a politician, the fruit that they bears is their policy. You know what I'm saying? And their track record. That's what we judge. We don't judge the individual. You know, we leave that to God. We can, but for us, you know what I'm saying, as constituents, for those of us that are Americans, we look at the policies and which side makes more sense. And you're not going to get me with the Trump's bad, Trump's scary, Trump a threat to democracy. And to be honest with you, we want him to continue to be a threat to democracy. And we hope that every president is a threat to democracy. Because we live in a constitutional republic, we don't want a democracy. MAGA Tamara says our government just keeps us mad at each other, and they're throwing everything up in the air at once that they think will divide us. I'll agree with you on that. I would say it's more or less Democratic politicians that would like to keep us divided. You know, but the reality of it is this, man. The sooner you realize, I talked about this the other day on the panel show. You have a lot of people up in arms, you know, because they feel like, you know, one group of people is better off than another financially, right? But when you go and look at the data and you realize that most people aren't rich. Matter of fact, the majority of Americans are not rich, and the majority of us are dealing with the same exact things. If you are in the middle class, upper, middle, lower middle class, and you're Black, white, Hispanic, Asian, you're all dealing with the same things. You're all dealing with the same things. What we do know is that the average median wage in America is about, I think they say it's between either $63,000 or $66,000 a year. So that right there just goes to show you that everybody in America, they're not balling out of control. Only 20% of the nation makes over $100,000 a year. And $100,000 a year, you know, not to poo-poo it, but I mean, it's not like super life-changing money where you make $100,000 one year and you're never going to have to work again. That's not the case. And 40% of those people that do earn $100,000 a year, they're living paycheck to paycheck. And it's not because of the system or something along those lines. Some of it is just a lack of fiscal responsibility, you know, and you have a lot of people that just don't know what to do with money, or, you know, they have a covetous mindset, right? So when people go out there and say, you know, oh man, the white people, you know, they're making all the money, or, you know, the Black people are down, you know, because of systemic racism, I call cat, because most people aren't making a ton of money. Most aren't. And then when you dive into it and you start looking at the people who actually have money, the wealthiest people in our nation are married people, and that is regardless of race. Married people are the wealthiest people in the nation, and it doesn't matter what your race is, right? Black, white, Hispanic, Asian. Now, what we do know is that Indian Americans, the actual Indian Americans from India, those are the wealthiest people. But even then, the disparity, it's pretty minimal when you start talking about marriages. But in the grand scheme of things, if people actually really understood that, hey, most people, if you're in the middle class, if you're poor or something along those lines, you're on that side of things, working class or whatever the case may be, working poor, doesn't matter what you look like. We're all dealing with the same things. And then more times than not, we actually have a common enemy. You know what I'm saying? But they've been doing this for a very long time. We can divide the people by little, minuscule things, and it keeps them going at each other and keeps our eyes off of the people that we actually should have our eyes on. And that's the problem. I don't know, if I don't know what you mean by 8-1 clip. I don't know what you mean by why does he get a pass? Has he done some terrible things in his life? I'm not sure. I guess that might not be towards me. Maybe he's talking about Biden. Maybe he's talking about Biden. Lord knows, Biden's track record is it's murky, to say the least. Let's see what he says here. Tampa Afro says, my church, the River Church, led by Rodney Howard Brown, is about to do a giant conference in Chicago very soon. And I think he's putting himself and the church team at extreme risk. Interesting. Angela Montgomery says, what's sad is there are people who know the word and are afraid to leave the leaders who are not leading. Yeah. There's a lot of that going on. Unfortunately. What you also got to understand too is like, a lot of times, the churches is no different than, your fraternities or your sororities. You got a lot of folks. People are looking for something to be a part of in this day and age. Have y'all noticed there's an uptick of people, grown people joining sororities and fraternities in their late 30s and 40s? People joining, the Elk Lodges and Masons and Eastern Stars and all this other kind of stuff. There's an uptick of people doing that because they're looking for something to belong to. And that's no different than the churches. There's a lot of people that go to churches that they know those churches ain't worth nothing. And they know the pastors ain't worth a dang either. But they continue to go because this is their community of people. These are the people that they can hang out with, so forth and so on. People are looking for that. And a lot of the reason why people are looking for it is because we've splintered. We've gotten away from, family. We've gotten away from, your family being that group and those people that you can lean on. We've gotten away from that. And we've gotten so isolated, in our country, that you have a lot of people that are now looking for something else to be a part of. Deborah Carver says, churches today do not help the community or have youth centers like they used to anymore. It's only about the money. Churches today have turned a blind eye and the people's cry on deaf ears. Yeah. There's a few. There's a few, but I would say very, very small few, that are really trying to do the right things. Chester, he says that a major problem is a lot of churchgoers never read the Bible for themselves, just believe what, some failed man tells them. It says, if Catholics ever read the Bible, it says, call no man father but God. I'm not even going to go down there with you, Chester, but I do appreciate that. I can appreciate where you're coming from. Can definitely appreciate where you're coming from. Jim Mills says, Biden January 2021 to January 25th, it's Biden's fault. Yeah. The previous administration might have set the country back probably 10 years in the grand scheme of things. And this current administration, especially with this bill that just passed, it was passed, especially with the amount of money, going to Border Patrol, the amount of money going to ICE agents, things of that nature. Think about how much money is being spent to right the wrongs of the previous administration's open border policy. Think about that. No one wants to talk about it, but it's real. We're talking about, an administration that allowed anywhere from 11 to 30 million people to come across our southern border and northern border. We got to stop saying just southern border, southern and northern border. Yuck says, at 818 clips, I'm gonna read this out. Everyone has done bad things. You just hate Trump because they told you to hate him. Just like 30 years ago, you like Trump because they told you to. Yeah. Hey, they call it TV programming for a reason, right? I think a lot of the TDS that a lot of people suffer is because mainstream media has told you that Trump bad. They told you Trump racist. They told you, oh, Trump's a felon. That they told you to believe those things, right? Now, 818 Clips, you get no argument from me. I don't think, not just the president, I don't think politicians should be using that language, that type of language. So you get no argument from me there. And again, I'm not here to absolve a grown man's behavior. Heck, President Trump's old enough to be my grandfather. He is. He's old enough to be, he's my grandfather's age. But at the same time, his behavior got nothing to do with me. I'm looking at the policies. Dion said he probably meant he hates what the Dems do. Yeah, and I think a lot of us could appreciate that, right? I think a lot of us, the policies that, the Democrats push, I don't think a lot of us are in agreement with it. Most of us aren't in agreement, with their policies and their agenda. We see their agenda and their policies as net negatives for our nation. Edward Purcell says, continuing prayers for the lost in the flooding. Absolutely right, man. Absolutely right. Shout out to you, Reason My Mood, man. Says, good morning, everyone. Been here the whole time, just driving. Glad everyone is safe and made it through the weekend. Yeah. It's good to see you, man. Be safe out there. Steve Ed Mister says, if you're at a church and they say you have to join us to get to heaven, get up and walk out. Absolutely. Absolutely. Tamara says, in order to drain the swamp, you got to clear both sides. Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, that's bad actors on both sides. Again, I'm a firm believer you judge a tree by the fruit that it bears. Simple as that. And if we start doing that, we'd be better off. If we stop just looking at it and saying, hey, this person's Republican, this person's Democrat, I'm wholeheartedly supporting them no matter what, instead of judging each individual separately and their policies and what they want to implement separately, and we can judge it from what it is, we'd be way better off. We'd be way better off. And the reality of it is, man, it's more about class than it is anything else, right? The division is along class lines, not, racial lines, things of that nature. They want to keep you there, but it's not that. Because like I said earlier, man, the reality is this. Doesn't matter what your race is. If you are in the middle class, we're all dealing with the same things. We're all dealing with the same things. Ross said they still preaching that Old Testament, skipping over Jesus Christ's teachings, only using it when it benefits them. Oh yeah. Oh, they love that daggone. What is that? What is it? Is it Malachi? Oh man, when they say, will a man rob God of tithes and offering? That's the go-to. You can get that at least once a month in a lot of these race hustling churches, these prosperity pimping churches, right? Will a man rob God of tithes and offering? You're going to get that a lot, man. You're going to get that a lot. They like, hey man, y'all got to give that money. Now I've watched a couple pastors out there that I do appreciate. I know Billy Graham had pushed something out there, about, you don't need tithing isn't something that you have to do anymore. Vodi Bachman actually did a teaching on that as well, which is pretty phenomenal. What else we got going on up in here? Dion said, acceptance of the alphabet community equals a church that is going woke. Absolutely. Absolutely. Tampa Afro, you're absolutely right there. Jesus does not care about race. I really wish people would stop that. That is the devil's tongue. Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's the thing. That's why I was saying earlier. I mean, the black church, the white church, people talk all the black church, the white church. Man, there's just the church. It's just the church. All these denominations and all that type of stuff, man, it's just a way to divide the people, man. It's a way to divide the people and take their eyes off of God, man. It's ridiculous. Steve Edmonds says, Jesus said it's easier to put a camel through the eye of a needle than a rich man to get into heaven. Yeah. Spaces says, at that Chicago girl, email Pastor Meeks and ask him, what is he doing for the community that funds his church? Rental, of course. I don't know what that means, but okay. Shout out to Malachi with the $2 super chat. Says, loving is not agreeing. Hit that like button, y'all. Absolutely. Yeah. Hey, we can still love each other and not agree, right? Deborah says, back in the old days, the church was the people. Now it's just a building. No, the church is still the people. The church is still the people. That hadn't changed. Now, the people that go to these churches, they may not be part of the church. You ever thought about that? Those folks that go to the church, that go to these buildings, they may not actually be a part of the church. But the church is and will always be the people. What do you say? Anytime 2 or 3, gather in my name, right? So the church hadn't changed. The church hasn't changed. You just got a lot of folks out there. I like to call them chinos. Christian in name only. I like that. Jesus said, go into your closet to pray, and I will reward you openly. I love that. Absolutely. My wife does that all the time, man. Prayer closet, man. It's important. Young Champ says, people keep making it personal. Kamala's sins would have been 50 times worse. Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing, people, their judgment's clouded. You know what I'm saying? Their judgment's clouded. I mean, when you look at the track record of a Kamala Harris, I mean, come on, man. We're talking about a lady who legitimately, like, everybody knows she slept her way to the top. Everybody knows it. Everybody knows that she slept her way to the top. Everybody knows it. She started with a married dude. We all know this. B, you're absolutely right. None are sinless, but let's weigh his versus Biden's. Yeah. Good luck with that one. Good luck with that one. Thank you, B. Maggie Tamara said, I did not hear one policy from Democrats other than women killing off their unborn children. If that's all women are capable of, why would I want one running my country? Yeah, that was, think about that. Think about that. And thank you, Maggie Tamara. You're absolutely right. Kamala Harris was pushing alphabet community, and she was really heavy on the trans. She was going to be the next one to really push the trans movement. They used Obama to push the alphabet community, and they codified, gay marriage and things of that nature in the law. And they said that's it. That's all we want. Y'all remember that, right? We just want to be able to marry, no different. You gave them an inch, and now look at them. Kamala Harris, had she won, she was going to be the one to codify that, hey, you can just be whatever it is that you want to be. I mean, you got to think about this, man. The previous administration, they put a woman into the Supreme Court who could not tell you what a woman is. I don't want to hear anything from anybody that tells you that a woman is just a vibe or a feeling. I don't want to hear it. Oh, I'm not capable. I didn't go to school long enough. If you went to you didn't even need to go to school to know the difference between a man and a woman. You didn't even need to go to school. But if you at least, graduated kindergarten, you know the difference between a boy and a girl, a male and a female, a man and a woman. We literally had an administration put a lady into the Supreme Court who said that she isn't qualified. This is a Supreme Court justice who isn't qualified to define what a woman is. Like, what are we talking about here? What are we talking about? So ridiculous. Oh, no. Oh, Chad 3 said, my brother-in-law, who is in his mid-50s, was a Trump supporter till his daughter is transitioning into a man. Now he claims he's saved, but now says he's gay? Huh? Whoa. How does that work? And Annie Love, you're absolutely right, man. All have sinned and fallen short. Yeah, we've all sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. We all have. No one's perfect. Big Tim says, promises made, promises kept. We don't get that with other presidents. Absolutely right. For me, it's about policy. It's about policy. The things that I voted for, I'm seeing them come to fruition. And I'm happy about that. The things that I voted for, I'm seeing them come to fruition. And I am happy about that. Yep. Shout out to LJ Taylor with the $5 super chat. Says, my cousin is full of TDS and fully on board with the Democratic agenda. Even though he is married, has worked his whole life and a father of 2 boys. Yeah. Unfortunately, there's a lot of folks out there like that. I know people like that. I know a lot of people out there like that, unfortunately. Shout out to Ed Marr with the $5 super chat. Says, if we are to be in the world, but not of the world, then churches should be offending the worldly. Yeah, you're right there. Oh, I like that, Tampa. Says there's a special level of hell saved for a shepherd who misleads his flock. Absolutely. They got a nice wing for those folks. Hey, Justin, please don't say that. I want zero part of that. I want no parts of that. Yeah, I mean, hey, we're all sinners, right? And that's the thing, when you hear people like, oh, what about the sins? What about this? I'm like, come on, man. Hey, and shout out to Raj. Says, facts, big brother. The policies are what is definitely important. Who has the best ideas to fix the messes of the country, and our states? None of these Democrats have them that I've seen. Yeah. You never hear a policy. And you know what? I will give Mondani this. This is what I will give Zoran Mondani. He might be the first Democrat politician to actually tell us what his agenda is. Right? I mean, we don't like it. We think it sucks and we think his agenda is terrible, the policies that he want to push, but at least we know what they are. At least we know what they are. Kamala Harris told us that she was going to create an opportunity economy. What the heck does that mean? What the heck is an opportunity economy? What does that mean? Hey, 818 Clips, I disagree with you. I disagree. $48 billion for ICE, I think it's a great policy. They did allow 11 to 31 million people in here over the past 4 years, and we need the people to get these folks up out of there. We need them. We also need Border Patrol as well. Now, if you guys recall, about 2 years ago, Democrats were pushing for more Border Patrol, but they also wanted to make it easy. See, the thing with the Democrats, they were like, "Oh yeah, we'll approve the money for more Border Patrol officers. We'll do that, but we also want a path to citizenship for all the people that we let over here. We want you to make it easy. We want to hire a bunch of lawyers or a bunch of judges. We're going to call or lawyers. I guess that's what they would be, lawyers. We're going to call them immigration judges, and we're just going to mass amnesty a bunch of people. And we're like, nah, we don't want that. We don't want that. I'm okay with the bill investing into the border Patrol. I'm okay with them investing in the ICE. And Border Patrol, not just on the south, but on the north as well. I'm okay with it. We are a sovereign nation. We should maintain our borders. Dewan Davis says, factual, it's ugly to see, and Christian people with TDS is crazy. Yeah, it is. Because the thing is that those same people, if you start asking them, do they support certain things? They'll tell you no. But it's like, then why'd you vote for this lady? Why'd you vote for these people if you don't support these things? Oh, because Trump's evil. Trump's bad. That's what they'll give you. Trump's bad. Trump's evil. He's evil. Trump's bad. Trump's evil. Right? That's what they'll tell you. What we don't want is over-regulation, like what y'all got going on out there in California, 818 clips. You know what I'm saying? We talked about this on Friday. All the people out there in California, all those environmental nutcases out there, that's the reason why a house out there is almost $1 million. You know what I'm saying? We don't want the environmental nut jobs. We don't want them. And especially when you start talking about our nation, we're one of the cleanest nations out there. Our carbon footprint is nothing in comparison to what India has and what China has. We could eliminate all. We could eliminate it all, and it still wouldn't do anything when you got China and you got daggone India doing what they do. Overregulation, the only thing it does is put small business out of business and raises prices on a host of things. That's all it does. And you look at California right now, California isn't expensive because it's a beautiful place to live. That's not why it's expensive as it is. It's expensive because of the environmental whack jobs and the overregulation. The overregulation. That's the reason why a cracker box is almost $1 million. What is the average median house out there is like 800-something thousand. 4 times the average median house of anywhere else in the country. 4 times. That isn't because California is a great place. It's just a great place and everybody's wanting to live there. No, it's because of overregulation. What's up, TA? I don't want to live in a place where, they overregulate everything and the taxes are crazy. Think about the gas prices right now out in California. Gas prices is over $6 right now, even though everywhere else across the country, gas is down except for California. This is crazy. I don't understand why anybody would want to live there. And that's why you've had a lot of people move. And I've been to Cali. I've been to Southern Cali. I've never been to Northern California, but I've been to Southern California. Nice place, man. Nice place. It's gorgeous out there. It's beautiful out there. All the way around. Beautiful people, beautiful weather. But the politics, insane. Insane. How much money have they spent on the homeless problem out there only for it to be exacerbated? Linda said, compared to most other nations, the USA, we're rich. You're absolutely right. We are. I've talked about this on the channel. A family of 4 in America is considered poverty levels at about $33,000 a year. If a family of 4 has a household income of about $33,000 a year, that family is considered in poverty. Now, mind you, only 4% of families, these are married couples that even find themselves in that category. But even those people are doing better than 85% of the world's population. Hear me now. A family of 4 that earns and brings home a household income of $33,000 a year, they're still doing better than 85% of the world's population. You got to think, man, you got places around the world where the average individual makes less than $400 a month. We're talking less than $100 a week. So, yeah. we're doing a whole heck of a lot better. And I'm not saying that we're perfect. I'm not saying that there isn't any room for improvement, because Lord knows there is. But as long as you got people involved and people in play, I mean, we're always going to be an imperfect. We're always going to be that. People aren't losing Medicare and Medicaid or SNAP benefits. You got 1.4 million. I talked about this on Friday, 818 Clips. We'll talk to you for a little bit. You got 1.4 million illegal immigrants on Medicare. They got to go. Simple as that. I don't work my tail off. And I'm sure the folks here in the chat, the people, around this country, don't work their tails off to make sure that almost 1.5 million illegal immigrants get medical or health care. They need to go back home and let their own countries take care of them. SNAP benefits the same. Now, as per the rule states that, hey, if you want these benefits, you need to get a job. And they're not even saying a full-time job. They're saying, hey, if you have children between the ages of 7 and 17, you got to work at least 20 hours a week, 80 hours a month. That's 4 hours a day, Monday through Friday. If you can't work a part-time job, that's your problem. It should not be our responsibility to take care of your bad decisions. So we got 1.4 million illegal immigrants on the system. They got to go. We got another 3.6 million able-bodied people on the system. They need to go to work. So we got 1.4 million illegal immigrants that need to get the heck up out of our country. We should not be taking care of them. We got 3.6 million Americans that have children between the ages of 7 and 17. Those people need to find a job. I don't feel bad, you know what I'm saying, that the government is saying, hey, no more free lunches. Now, anybody that has children under the age of 7, they're not being forced to go to work. Anybody that's an elderly individual, or that is a disabled individual, those people aren't being forced. They're still going to get what they get. But we cannot keep operating the way that we are operating. Medicare, if nothing changes, if we do nothing, Medicare isn't going to exist come 2033. 2033, it's done, and then nobody gets anything from Medicare and Medicaid services. Nobody gets anything if we don't do something. Social Security benefits as well. They've already said that Social Security is going to be defunct, they say, by 2031. If we do nothing, if we leave it as it is, if we do nothing, no one's going to get it. So the plan is what? Just let it be how it is, and then, hey, when it's gone, it's gone? Or should we be trying to do something, you know what I'm saying, to ward off the program becoming defunct, where no one gets anything? It's not a bad thing to force able-bodied people to go get a job and work 4 hours a daggone day, 20 hours a week. That's a great policy. Get off your tail and go to work. Shout out to Sherry Calhoun with the $5 super sticker. Thank you very much. Seriously. And I'm a firm believer, and I've said this on the channel. I'm one of those kind of people. I think that we need to get rid of, I think child support should be gone. Anything, if you're not married, you shouldn't be eligible for child support. If you didn't go about doing things the right way, nope. We should not be on the hook for your poor choices and decisions. We shouldn't be. An illegal immigrant that comes over here, we shouldn't be taking care of them. We should not be taking care of these people. If you want someone to take care of you, take your butt back to your home nation and let them take care of you. Simple as that. Hey, we don't get to choose our parents. Again, y'all got these bleeding hearts for people that make their own decisions. These are the same people that will tell you that they grown and they don't need nobody telling them what to do. And if that is truly the case, okay, go get a job and take care of yourself, and you don't have to worry about people judging you. You don't. And again, Everybody's not going to win, and we don't get to choose our parents. I wasn't born to some rich, wealthy people. We don't get to choose. And the reality of it is, whatever the parent situation is, the kids definitely, it's not the kid's fault, but they definitely get to deal with it because those are their parents. But if we cut the safety net off, maybe it will stop people from jumping out there being very reckless with their bodies. Because last time I checked, we don't have an epidemic of people just out here getting raped. That's not the case. What we do have an epidemic of is people gaming the system. That's what we do have. We have an epidemic of people gaming the system, knowing that, oh, I'll just have another kid. I don't want to go to work. I'll just have another kid. I don't want to go to work. I'll just have another kid. And then they turn around and blame everybody else because they made poor choices and decisions. Thank you for the $10 super chat. Says, facts, our common enemy are the crooked politicians getting rich off of our backs, insider trading, and making millions promoting policies and megacorps that hurt us, make us sick, and make us poor. You're absolutely right. The sooner we realize that we all have a common enemy and it's not each other, the better we'll be. I mean, think about this, man. AOC and Bernie Sanders flew around the country on a private jet, $15,000 an hour, talking about fight the oligarchy. They are the oligarchy. They are a part of the problem. Hey, hey, Malachi said, I'm happy to be a Christian and a part of the AARP show. It's just the A, just the one A. Hey, don't get me in trouble today. It's just one A, ARP, not the double A. ARP is a super liberal woke organization out there, but appreciate you, brother. I don't think we should stop blaming Biden. We're only 6 months into the current administration's tenure. The previous administration, I don't know if you're real or not. You know what I'm saying? Can we say that the previous administration, it was an abject failure for the people, not for the corporations, not for the rich folks that had their money in the stock market, because the market, for the most part, during that time frame, it did pretty well. But for the masses of people, we've been in a recession since 2021. We've had open border policies dating back to that time frame as well. What we do know is that a lot of the executive orders that were written to slow down the flood across our southern northern border, they were basically, gotten rid of as soon as Biden took office. So yeah, that administration, hands down, one of the worst administrations in U.S. history, and definitely one of the worst administrations, at least in my lifetime. And it's probably not close. We literally had Weekend at Bernie's as president, and we had a moron as vice president. And I'm being nice by saying moron. Cool, Ramon. Yeah, absolutely. 100,000 fentanyl deaths during the Biden administration. Yeah. Sound like a genocide to me. But I understand, when people say, what about the kids? What about the kids? We don't get to choose our parents. Some of us grow up in the hood. Others grow up in gated communities. We don't get to choose who our parents are. But just because we don't get to choose who our parents are, that doesn't mean that the rest of us should have to pick up the slack for your deadbeat parents. And I can speak on that as well. You know what I'm saying? My biological father wasn't about a whole lot. You know what I'm saying? Just saying. And I'm not sitting here shedding tears and like, oh my gosh, my dad wasn't there and he was, out there in the streets doing his own thing. No. I don't get to choose my parents, but what I do get to choose, you know what I'm saying, is how I want to live my life. I get to choose that. And that's what makes this country so great. This is the one nation that you could potentially start off in the bottom 10%, and with some hard work, with some grit, with some determination, putting your faith in the Lord, you can work your way to the top, to the 50%, and you could work your way to the top 10% in one lifetime, only in America. There isn't another place that you can do that. There isn't another country that will allow you to do that. That you can literally start off at the bottom 10% and you can work your way to the middle class and you can work your way to the top 10%. There's no other nation that you have the ability to do that in. And that's regardless of who you are. I like that. For the unintellectual that don't look into the policies, they see the president saying, I hate them and run with it. I do agree with that. I hadn't had a chance to watch that particular speech. I'm gonna see if I can pull it up and take a look at it. And I do agree with that. That may not be the way to go. But if things keep going the way that it's going, you don't need Democrats. They don't need Democrats. I mean, we saw what happened this past election, right? Maybe he comes back out and he cleans it up and say, hey man, it's not that I dislike. I don't like the Democrat politicians, not the people. But I do understand where you're coming from, 818 Clips. I do understand that. But it can be frustrating. These people can be frustrating. And again, President Trump, he is a human being. You know what I'm saying? He does sit in the highest office in the land. I'm not absolving his behavior. He is a human being, flawed individual and all, and y'all know what he's been dealing with. And most of y'all would have probably said, y'all would have cracked and said worse sooner. Most of y'all cuss out the person that cut you off in the road or that's on their phone in front of you. You know what I'm saying? In front of you at the light. You know you got somewhere to be. They ain't moving. The light turned green. How many of y'all cuss that person out? Y'all won't give that person grace. Now I get it. You know what I'm saying? He's got to stand above the fray. He's got to be better. I get it. I understand. I get it. Maggie Tamara says, I don't like the churches that believe that the church and the state should be divided because they're not. The Bible supposed to guide us through all of life. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. And the reality of it is that was the case, for the founding fathers. That was the case. Appreciate that, Christopher. Thank you very much, man. Oh, RJ, you a fool. Come on now. Come on now. Shout out to Crystal Beyond Labels with the $5 super chat. Says that people need to remember God is our source. If they put their eyes back on God, they wouldn't be depending on government. Absolutely. You're absolutely right. Thank you, Crystal. You're absolutely right there. That's a lot of the problems. You have so many people looking at man to solve their problems, to be their source, to be their provider, and they're not looking at the proper source. But the thing is that that's what Democrats want. They want you to take your eyes off of God. They don't want you to put your faith and your trust and and they don't want you to depend on God. They want you to depend on them. They want to tell you that we're the saviors. We're the ones that's going to save you. Risky Angstrom says, I make $130K, live check to check, paycheck to paycheck, $1,000 a month for student loans. Yeah, that's rough. That's rough. I'm not going to get in your business today. That I'm not going to do. with that being said, man, we're going to get out of here. Appreciate you guys pulling up today, man. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. It was good just kind of spitballing with you guys. I see my guy Ryan in the house. What's going on, Ryan? How you doing, brother? I love it. He says, wait till our policy kicks in. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Appreciate you, Ryan. Appreciate you. It's good to see you, man. Shout out to Ron Harris with the $2 super chat. Says gas can't go down because of all the taxes. Yeah, well, I know here in Maryland they raised our tax. Our gas did come down, but they raised the fuel tax. But they raised the tax on everything. You know, we got our taxes were everything was raised here. I mean, it's insane. Yeah, Nick Shirley is a beast, man. Shout out to Ryan Henderson with the $5 super chat. Says, once people get back to work, we will be a more perfect nation. More perfect nation in most of Snap now. Okay. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Mm-hmm. Well, if we took away all those social networks, Sherry Calhoun says, I agree with the part-time job. If you're not working, you shouldn't be eligible for child support. I mean, you got to think about this, man. You know, all of these, you know, the child support and the family court system and all the other kind of stuff, man, that's just there to, you know, one, people got to understand that when you go through child support, you know, through the family court system, the judges, the prosecutors, all those people that play that role there, they get a piece of the money that goes out. So they're incentivized to, you know, give people these obscene amounts of child support. They're incentivized to make someone pay for a child, even though said child isn't his, even after the DNA test has come back. They're incentivized to do it. Shout out to Ron Henderson with the $5 super chat. Says the same bleeding heart we have for these people, we have for our children. That's why these kids are running amok. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Kids are crazy. We got a lot of that going on. Yeah. Well, that sounds like CPS needs to take care of that. Again, none of us get through this childhood unscathed. And I do understand that, yeah, we want to take care of people. But at the same time, we have to have some accountability. We have to. We can't just keep letting people, you know, just have kid after kid after kid after kid and think that, you know, we are going to take care of these people. Seriously. I don't blame the children. But again, we don't get to choose who our parents are. We don't get to choose who our parents are. And Lori, absolutely right. If the parents are drug addicts, the children shouldn't be in that environment. Absolutely. Where's CPS when you need them? Yep, LJ. So she says, so what is the solution? Continue to enable parents' poor decisions by supplementing them, or continue to because it's not the kid's fault? Yeah. And that's the thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. What, we just supposed to just keep supporting people that won't support their own children? Analog Man Podcast with the $2 super chat says, check on Deer and Gap. That's the real open border. Yeah. Yeah. It's not anti-biblical. The word flat out states that a man that doesn't take care of his children is worse than an unbeliever. The word tells you you are obligated to take care of your children. It also states that we are obligated to support and help the poor. And I don't think most of us, but you should want to do that out of the kindness of your heart. It says, the word says, God loves a cheerful giver. When you snatch it from me, when you take it, you know what I'm saying? To give the people that abuse the system, that's not giving anyone the opportunity to be cheerful. It just isn't. With that being said, we're going to get out of here, man. Shout out to Dion with the $5 super chat. Says, do y'all remember the episode of Trump on Fresh Prince when he said, everybody always blames me for everything? I remember Trump being on the Fresh Prince. I don't necessarily remember what his lines were, on that, but I do remember him being on the Fresh Prince. I do remember that. Brought up the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air back in the day. Oh, man. But I appreciate y'all pulling up, man. Thank y'all very much. Appreciate y'all pulling up today, man. Appreciate y'all supporting the channel as well. We're going to have a short week. I'm going on vacation. I'll be on vacation for a little bit. So we're going to be off starting Thursday. And then we won't be back on for a live show. I'll have, I'll have recorded videos to come out during that time frame, but there won't be a live show for a week after this coming Wednesday. So, but I do appreciate you guys pulling up and rocking with me today, man. Hey, y'all stay blessed, stay prayed up out there. Keep your head on a swivel. Hope you guys enjoyed the long weekend. Hope you guys enjoyed the long weekend, man. So, and for a lot of us, man, we right back to the grind. I worked all last week. I didn't even take Monday off. Y'all know that. I'm sorry, I didn't take Friday off. I actually worked on Friday, but yeah, I'm gonna take a little bit of time off. Just a little bit. But I'll have some recorded videos and things of that nature that'll come out. We just won't do the live show, for a few days. But yeah, man, we gotta hang out with the family for a little bit. Things of that nature. Keep wifey happy, stuff like that. But I appreciate y'all, man. Y'all stay prayed up out there, man. Keep God first, stay prayed up. We'll catch up with you all tomorrow. We'll be right back at it tomorrow, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I think Wednesday, we're going to do another panel show for this coming Wednesday. So I'll get that set up, man. And y'all already know when we do the panel shows, you can just count on it. It's probably going to be a 3-hour show. You can almost count on it. I'm surprised even today went for 2 hours, but hey, it is what it is. But I do appreciate you guys, man. So y'all stay safe, man. Stay safe out there. And appreciate the interaction, there in the in the chat. Appreciate you guys, man. And shout out to 818. I think is it 818 or 88 Clips? Shout out to you, brother. Hey, I don't mind, and I tell people all the time, and I told the Blues, hey, we don't have to agree. I think civil discourse is good. I definitely appreciate the points that you bring. Kind of helps keep things flowing in the chat. And we should have the ability, to converse and debate, on things without it getting hostile. And, so I can appreciate that, man. So hope to see you back in the chat. Hope to see you back, man. Shout out to you, Justin, man. Appreciate you pulling up as well. RJ Hudson, all my Blues, B's, FRK9, TA Kasky. Shout out to you guys pulling up this morning as well. Hey, man, make today a great day. Make it a great day. All right, Dion. Y'all take care. Peace.
Vibes so